Hey, thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners. We're back racing at Albion Park on Saturday night. It's a big 10-race program, and as a bonus, the best horse in the country is back at his favourite track. We're talking about Leap to Fame. We saw the Inter-Dominion champ resume last week. He went through the motions very well, around 1:53, his winning time. But Grant Dixon looking for a little bit more. He spoke with his wife Trista. They decided to give him one more run because the following week, next Saturday night, he'll be in Melbourne chasing the big Grand Circuit race, the Hunter Cup. So we get to see him again. Again, it's race number 4. Again, start time 7:15. So if you're in the area, head along and check out the best horse in Australia in Leap to Fame. We've got 10 races. We start at 5:43. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we're going to speak with Leonard, Cain and Matty Elkins. Leonard Cain now joins us to go through his drives on Saturday night, and he's in the hot seat. Leonard, appreciate the time.
No worries at all, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
A couple of good drives for you that I'm keen to talk to you about. We start with one in race 2. My dad said, now I was just going through some form of this guy, 2 drives on this horse, 2 victories. So can you keep that unbeaten record intact?
Oh, look, I'd love to think so. And, you know, going into Saturday night, obviously I'm fairly confident the horse is a nice horse. He's a tidy type, and he's probably a tad below average in the heat here Wednesday week ago, but I think he can sort of bounce back from that. You know, Wayne does a great job with his horses and always has them spot on, so I think he was probably just a tad underdone in the heat, and he'll be spot on for the final, you know. All
right, this is the up to NR70 final. They're always competitive series. Heats are staged here, there and everywhere, and they always come together for the final at Albion Park. So this is no different. There's plenty of good form lines going into this race. What did you think of Barrier 5?
Look, on an initial look at it, it sort of looked a bit tricky, and it probably still is to a certain point, but there looks to be a lot of speed inside of us, so I'm sort of hoping that it generates a little bit of early tempo and they take a little bit of sting out of one another early, and I can have that closing shot on them.
Yeah, and that almost looks guaranteed. There's got to be a hot tempo early here, surely.
That's the way it looks, definitely. Yeah, no, I agree for sure, and that's definitely what we're hoping for. So I think if that eventuates, we're right in the race. So, yeah.
Yeah, good chance, certainly. My dad said that's race 2, number 5. What about race 3, Parama? He's on the back up from Tuesday. He got the job done. Is there any reason why he can't do the same?
No, I don't think so. You know, he was sharp enough there Tuesday, and Riley sort of said to me post-race he was probably 1 run short, so he sort of probably wasn't expecting him to go up to what he did on Tuesday. So I think, you know, I was happy enough with the run as is, but with that little bit of post-race sort of feedback, I think it probably only fuels the fire for Saturday night, because he's got that extra run under his belt, and it was probably a good tightening run for him. So look, definitely Saturday night looks a good race there again for him, and we hope we can do the same thing. All
right. Probably looks a little harder, but are you confident that he's got the speed to lead?
Yeah, look, he's electric off the gate, as we seen there on Tuesday, and we have so many times. So hopefully he has got the speed to sort of get himself into that handy position early, and I think that'll be a little bit of the telltale.
All right, well, there's a good drive there, Parama, in race number 3. What about in race 5, Eternal Gold? You know this horse really well. He's exceptionally well bred. He lands the inside gate. So first and foremost, he finally gets a good draw.
Yeah, that's right. You know, he's probably a horse that I don't really like drawing there with on a general, but in saying that too, he's been, touch wood, he's been driving a lot better lately, and he's racing a lot better at Albion. You know, he was probably always struggled that little bit at Albion with the longer straights, and he bores out and sort of gets on himself a little bit. But we've sort of rectified a few things, and I'm actually really pleased with the way he's been going. And you know, those few runs leading into Saturday night have all been promising enough. I've been happy with all of them, and his manners have got a lot better, like I say. So I think hopefully this week will be a little bit different for him drawing the inside. Hopefully, you know, he stays well-mannered this week and everything goes to plan. I think if that's the case, he'll be a real good shot there Saturday.
How do you analyse the gate speed there to your outside? Mac Daddy can run the gate, and Jack Wally, he can really light up, and he's drawn out in 7.
Yeah, there's obviously a little bit of speed there, as you sort of highlighted there, but I don't think we'll worry about it too much early. We'll sort of just sit there on him and just see how he gets out. He gets out pretty well on his own accord if he's doing everything right. So we'll try and hold as handy as we can, but I don't think we'll be too worried about doing anything silly early and just look for the runs late.
He's been a runner-up 3 of his last 4. In your honest opinion, with a little bit of luck, how many of those could he have won?
Oh, look, I think he probably could have won his last 2 with a little bit of luck, to be honest. His last start especially, I thought he was quite good. Just Cain kid sort of got the better trip than him. You know, landed behind leader and just out-sprinted us up the straight, and it's a quick horse. So I wasn't disappointed. It was just the way the race panned out. It was a bit of a shame.
All right. Well, that's Eternal Gold. Let's go across to race 7. My Alderman Victor. This looks a suitable race for him. He just probably needs that little bit of luck. But how did you sort of assess this race for him?
Yeah, like I'm sort of on the same page. You know, I think it's quite an even race, and I think it's well within his depth. So he's obviously quick out the gate early. So we'll sort of have a look across early and see what happens, and you know, possibly try and get ourselves a more forward position rather than sort of snagging. I think it looks the best go with him there on Saturday, and I think if we can land handy enough, you know, he's got a real good turn of foot late, and he's really come on of late. So I think with last week's run under his belt will be a massive tightener for him as well, and I think that should play into our hands.
This is definitely easier than last week, isn't it?
Oh, for sure, yeah. You know, and last week was quite a good race, and I didn't think he was disappointing considering he was first up and in probably a month there, and it was a quick last half, so I thought he still went quite good.
All right, race 9. This is the Mayor's Open. Good money up the grabs here. Sweet Miracle's the horse to beat. She's low flying, unbeaten since finding her way to Brisbane. Your drive is Miss Mucho, a last starter runner-up. That was last week. She's got a nice trailing draw. She's right in the mix here.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Miss Mucho, she's one. I don't know if I have ever, you know, sort of been lucky enough to sit behind her yet, but I've always sort of enjoyed watching her. She's a mare that I sort of have a lot of respect for, and she races quite good week in, week out. So it'll be good to get aboard her this week. And like you say, it's a pretty handy draw, really, to the second line. We sort of have our options, what we do, and we don't have to get involved in anything silly early, and we can be using that good speed of hers late.
Well, you are correct. You haven't sat behind her as of yet, but Saturday night, that will all change. Her effort here last week, really good. Again, there's got to be tempo. You look at that front row, there's a few mares that possess good gate speed, so the faster the better. Yeah,
for sure. You know, definitely, I think, yeah, 100% that race there. If there's a bit of speed early and they sort of generate that bit of tempo, you know, she's definitely good enough to have that last closing shot on them and sort of be coming over the top of them.
The favourite will be hard to beat. She's in rare form, isn't she? Sweet Miracle.
Yeah, absolutely flying. You know, Gemma's done a great job since getting her up here, and yeah, she's right in the zone at the moment, so she'll take a lot of beating.
All right, last race Saturday night, race 10, number 10, Miss Mia. It's a horrible draw on paper. What are the main positives here going into this race?
I think we sort of just, it's probably one of them races, like you say, the draw probably doesn't suit us, so we've probably just got to sort of slot in early or look for the shortcuts and just drive that one a little bit as we see it. She's going well enough, so I think, you know, if we can get a kind sort of trip and just sort of have one closing shot on them late, I think she'll be, you know, right in the finish there for sure.
Well, she has won 2 of the last 5, so she's not completely out of form, is she?
No, God, no. You know, she's she's racing quite well at the moment. So with a little bit of luck, she'll be featuring, I think, for sure.
All right. So a couple of handy drives there. Which one are you most excited about?
Probably Miss Mucho, I think, on paper. I think she's probably the most exciting one looking at Saturday night there at a first glance.
Righto. Race 9, number 9, Miss Mucho will take the tip. Leonard, as always, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
Thanks very much.
Matty Elkins joins us to go through his book of drives on Saturday night, and he's in the hot seat as we speak. Matty, appreciate the time.
Pleasure as always, Chris.
Glenliddy boy, race 1, number 1. This is your drive. He is going okay. Barrier 1 can be a little bit of a funny one for him because he's not a quick beginner, is he?
No, he doesn't sort of have overly top gate speed, but in saying that, I don't think it's that quick a front line there Saturday night.
The distance is going to suit him. Up to the 2,138 metres, he looks like he can find his groove a little better at that distance range compared to the hustle-bustle of the mile.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I think he's run some good races recently, sitting on the pegs.
So he's well up to winning this race?
Yeah, I think so. You know, if the race works out all right and he doesn't have to do too much work and follows a suitable helmet, I'd say he won't be too far away.
So ideally, with a half mile left to run, where would you like to be?
Behind the leader, I'd say I'd be pretty happy with. But yeah, we'll look for that spot, I reckon.
All right. Has he got that ping to get up and go when that sprint lane run emerges?
Yeah, I think, sort of haven't driven the guy much, but I think one of those races over the into the Minion Carnival, he may have sat leaders back in a slowly run race and nearly picked up the leader late there off a slow tempo. So I think he can pick up and go late.
All right. Well, good chance there in the first. Race 1, number 1, Glenletty Boy. Race 3, one of your own runners here, Rock Tagnall. Inside of the second row, but he's going well.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't normally have good barrier draws, and last week we sort of drove him a bit upside down to what he's been used to in Queensland and did a bit of work early on in the 26th quarter, and he actually pleased me with his run in the end.
Do you prefer him at the mile or the 2100?
I don't think it really matters. I just think he needs genuine tempo. Sort of at the mile, he just needs him to go probably as fast as they can all the way, and 21 probably gives him a bit more opportunity to get over the top late.
Okay, and looking at that front line, do you think it will generate the tempo that you require?
Yeah, we're probably not following the best beginner from one there, but I think a horse like Red Right Hand's probably well back in this grade, and he may look to get forward early, so that might make the pressure. Yeah,
Parama's on the back up from Tuesday. He was able to lead in his race, so they might adopt similar tactics, which could be beneficial for you.
Yeah, we sort of want two of them to want to lead themselves, and that sort of creates that fast lead time, fast first quarter.
All right, well, that's Rock Tagnall, race 3. Just needs that little bit of luck. Race 5, you're driving Mac Daddy. You drove this guy last week. I look back at the sectionals earlier in the week. He couldn't have done much more sectionally.
No, it was just one of those races. We went backing up the fence, and it was a dawdle early, and I think 2:27 last quarters. So as long as you're not losing ground in those sort of splits, you're going well.
All right. This looks really open. Obviously, from gate 2, you want to be aggressive early.
Yeah, the map's probably a little tricky there. Eternal Gold sometimes leads, sometimes hands over. But, initially we'll look to be positive, and if he can get to the front or be put on the front end, I'd say he'd be a massive player in that race.
Okay, so if he does lead, his chances skyrocket. Does he have to lead to win?
No, I think he's sort of proven lately. He's won a couple of races off cover, and probably a few runs back here. He ran third one night, and he actually flew up the straight in a fast last quarter. So he is versatile. Leading probably just makes my job a bit easier.
All right, just going back to the map there, what about Jackawally out in gate 7? Do you think they launch him?
Yeah, he's sort of normally a go-forward horse. I think he's one way or the other that drives himself, to be honest. So he could light up, and that could create a fast first quarter as well. So then if that does happen, 1-1 or something would be all right.
Okay, so you're confident that you've got a leading hope there with Mac Daddy?
Yeah, it's probably just up to the steer from gate 2 from me.
Okay, race number 8. This race for the mares here. Carly Morgan draws out in gate 7. She can't buy a gate. She's either drawing out in 7 or she's off the second row. Surely her luck's got to turn.
Yeah, we might have to find a different race for her to change the rating system. But, she's been plagued with bad draws ever since she's come, and she actually hardly has run a bad race.
So is it frustrating for you that you've got her going as well as you can, but she just can't get a barrier draw and then lucky in running?
Yeah, it is. It's quite frustrating. Every week they're drawn on national ratings, and last week was the random one, and we still drew to gate 10, so it was sort of no good to us anyway.
All right. So from gate 7, are you going back here on the weekend?
Yeah, I think we've got to go back. The stewards had me in the room for some time last time I went forward on her, so we probably just got to go back and rely on tempo again.
All right. What's her best racing pattern?
I think if she can get to the front, she can stomp out a good mile, She isn't overly good horse, but I do think she goes quite okay, and I think if she does find the front one night, she could rattle off a 53 mile.
Okay, well, that's Carly Morgan. Your other runner in that race is Flare Up. Would you say a little disappointing since coming up here?
Very disappointing. If you put a clock on her or seen her work at home, you'd be very disappointed. She's been a head scratcher. I thought she was quite okay, and probably trained up better than anything else I've got at home. But, she's another one that's had bad barriers, and she probably was underdone there last week when she drew 1 and had to go 26 third quarter. But, she's got plenty of ability. I think the key to her is getting her to settle in the run. Okay,
she's only a little mare, isn't she?
Yeah, she's only a little, really well bred and plenty of speed, but just waiting to get that shown on the racetrack.
All right. So just going back to Carly Morgan, something just came to my mind then when I was talking about Flare Up. Is there any sort of comparison that we can make with Carly Morgan and Arco?
Yeah.
Are they similar?
Well, they're similar in the way they draw in their races, that's for sure.
And they're always thereabouts earning those checks. So hopefully, like Arco, the tide will turn for Carly Morgan.
Yeah, and when she come up, she wasn't the best eater and didn't sort of handle a heavy workload. But in the last couple of weeks her work stepped up and she's actually thriving on conditions at the moment and looking better each week. So I'm sure she's going to continue to race better.
All right, fingers crossed. Which driver are you most looking forward to?
We'll go Carly Morgan. We'll try and weave some magic.
All right, we'll take the tip there. Race 8, number 7, Carly Morgan. Matty, as always, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
Thank you.
As always, a big thanks to both Leonard and Matty. We wish them all the very best of luck there on Saturday night. Hopefully there's a few winners for both of them. As I said, 10 races. We start at 5:43. Looking for a good thing. I think we can strike early. Why wait? Go hard. Race 1, number 4, Makara. He finally comes up with a good draw here. He does possess good early speed. If he can lead here, they've then got options. They can either hold or take a trail. And I think either scenario, he's going to be in a really good spot here. I think last week his run was more than okay. Sectionally, he was sound. So this week, we'll go with him. Race 1, number 4, Makara, thinking that he's going to be right in the thick of the action there. So that's the first 5:43 start time. That's Weekend Winners. We'll see you again next week.